Welcome back to the third video of this week's Church on a Mission series. And this week we're looking at discipleship. How do we lead others to become disciples of Christ? And in Luke 6, we see another scene in Jesus' life. And it says this: "One of those days, Jesus went out to a mountainside to pray, and he spent the night praying to God. When morning came, he called his disciples to him and chose 12 of them, whom he also designated apostles." And he then goes on to list the names of the apostles. Mm-hmm. So Heather, there's the word chose here, chose 12 of them. I think it raises a bit of an issue, a thing, mm-hmm. right? Because he's saying ultimately Jesus here is choosing 12 people, but then we also read about Jesus loving everybody. So mm-hmm. how do we navigate that idea of Jesus choosing people here, and also he's loving everybody? What does that look like? What would you say?
Well, I think Jesus is fully God and fully human, and he only has so much time and so much kind of capacity as a man here on earth. And so ultimately you have to choose, and you have to make priorities. And he chooses 12 individuals to. It's not about favoritism. It's just it's about, I guess, selecting who he can invest in, who will have an impact. And there's a verse in Proverbs 26 verse 10, which says, "Like an archer who wounds at random is he who hires a fool or any passerby." And we see Jesus here actually. He doesn't just pick any old 12 people. He's been observing these 12 disciples, watching them fish and watching them go about their daily basis. And after doing that, he spends the night in prayer. It said that, he went up to the mountainside, he spent the night in prayer, and he prayed to God about who it was that he should be investing his time in and which relationships to be investing in. And only after he did that, then he called his 12 disciples and he chose them, and they were the disciples that he desired. And I think sometimes, we do have a fear as when we kind of, are picking people to invest our time in. There is this fear of favoritism, but ultimately it is what Jesus did, and Jesus spent time. He had 3 favorites. He had Peter, James and John. He had the 12. He also had the kind of crowds that he spent time with as well. But we only have so much capacity to invest in kind of close relationships with certain people. So I think when we are kind of choosing who we should be investing in, surround it with prayer. We need to be following Jesus' example, praying to God, asking who that should be. And I think there's also a fear of us picking the wrong people as well, but I don't see that in Jesus, because ultimately, it says the last person he picked was Judas Iscariot, who became a traitor and who betrayed him. Yeah. And he did it anyway, and he invested in him and invested in that relationship anyway with him. And our responsibility isn't the fruit. Our responsibility is just investing in that person and being faithful with the time that we have. And some of our maybe relationships in that kind of way will go really well, mm-hmm. and will be thriving and might last for years or decades, or maybe even like our lives, as people kind of you check in with people that we're leading. And then others may just be for a short season, and that person may go off, or that person may go and do something else, and I suppose holding that loosely in a way, right? Like choosing specifically, but then holding it loosely at the same time. But the thing is, I think if everyone did this, and if everyone chose a couple of people to be to invest in, then everyone would be covered, because. And so I think it's almost up to us as the church to be kind of finding those people to invest in, so that there isn't anybody left out.